So my name is Daisy Ozim and I am the Director of Blockchain for Social Justice. So the goal of our organization is to make sure that we are promoting blockchain development courses in marginalized communities so we can compete in that field, because blockchain developers make at least 200 or 400K a year. Making sure that folks have access to cryptocurrency education, like how to invest, how to get a wallet, how to break down a white paper. And lastly, teaching nonprofit organizations, social justice activists, and community members actually how to build their own blockchain, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So I do want to say that I had this whole beautiful presentation and workshop created for y'all because I thought I was going to have more time, but then I found out I only got 10 minutes. So we're gonna go a little hyper speed, but you're gonna get exactly what you need to get out of this workshop so that you have at least get some of your wheels turning so that you know where to start looking if you wanna get more education around this topic. So who here knows how blockchain technology works? Okay, we got some folks in here who know. Okay, great. So I just talked about what we did, yes. Our guiding principles, accessibility, equity, and innovation. In the blockchain space, our programs, developer trainings, community education, project development, event partnerships, right? So we can make sure our folks are getting into these crazy expensive conferences and making sure that they're speakers and we're diversifying that space. So what is our impact to date? We had the Blockchain for Social Justice conference, and we had a hackathon with that conference. And the great thing that actually happened is the hackathon winner, they built out a really powerful project for the formerly incarcerated, and they actually just got some investment to move forward with their project. And these are folks who came into the room knowing nothing about blockchain and left with an entire project, right, that they are now building out. Black Rose Code Summer Camp, teaching those young girls about blockchain, crypto, and built out a whole project with them as well. We've done 4 economic health fairs in the community where we host day-long sessions on economic trauma, how to get into blockchain, cryptocurrency, investing, all those different things, right? And we started doing this on Black Friday just to get our people out of shopping and that whole craziness and into like really paying attention to our economic stability. We have a day-long incubator coming up, so for folks who want to build their own blockchain project, go on our website and register. We worked with the San Francisco Human Rights Commission and just did their equity summit where we taught a whole bunch of young Black and brown kids from the different neighborhoods in San Francisco about blockchain and cryptocurrency, and actually gave out currency at the conference. Yes, we're giving free money. Working with SFUSD, working with UC Berkeley on developing blockchain curriculum. Worked with Miller Social Enterprise Incubator, teaching their alumni and the social enterprises in their program about blockchain. And we worked with Draper University as well about actually how to infuse social justice into projects, because if anyone knows who the Drapers are, a little bit problematic, they need some social justice healing. Okay. So when we're talking about social justice, what is that? Because I feel like social justice, social impact, social good, giving back, charity, we call it so many different things that we kind of water down what it's supposed to be. So I say social justice, and I know for a lot of people, they're like, oh, here comes the angry Black woman activist. Okay, yeah, and, right, we need social justice, right? Because it's the just and equitable distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society rooted in inequality. So why do we need to bring this to crypto? I had a really good video. Let's see. Why do we need to bring this to crypto? Because currently, I know folks may not be able to see this, but the blockchain cryptocurrency industry itself brought in about $300 billion just last year, right? And that's a huge opportunity for us to be able to build generational wealth and end generational poverty and use some of that money to actually address some of the issues that are going on in our community. I read an article that said the top billionaires made enough money to end poverty 7 times over, right? And we can do that with cryptocurrency if we're smart about it. It's not the end all be all, but we can make some changes. And Satoshi Nakamoto, who wrote the Bitcoin white paper, he even wrote in that white paper that this tool was for economic sovereignty away from the big banks, and it's going right back into the hands of greed. So we need to bring social justice into that space. A lot of folks are not thinking about that. What else is currently happening? I would say, on one hand, the blockchain technology itself has a lot of potential for good. One is in terms of identity management. So has anyone ever heard of identity genocide? Okay, so basically that happens when a war happens, refugee crimes happen, people have to leave their homes and whatnot. So there's actually an entire refugee camp actually built on blockchain, where the refugees, you just look into the camera, it pulls up your whole identity and whatnot, and you can get like your money, your rations and whatnot for the day. Now, that can also turn into a double-edged sword with policing and surveillance, right? Another thing that blockchain is being used for is for elections, right? Because you can't, if you hack the blockchain and change the data, everyone in the network can see. What else is it being used for? The ICOs, which really changed the game, because now I can run an ICO and I can raise millions of dollars in a span of a week or two to use that to fund my project instead of having to go to philanthropy and investors and et cetera. So it's moving out of that old paradigm. A lot of things that I've seen blockchain used for is for food justice, supply chain management. How do we track human trafficking, fake goods, counterfeit pharmaceuticals? That's what I'm seeing it used for. Because I don't have a lot of time, there's a website called positiveblockchain.io, and you can see hundreds of blockchain for social impact projects on there, just to get a glimpse in terms of how this technology can be used for good. It can support us in developing localized economy. We can have the San Francisco token, right? We can have the Bay Area token where we can use that within our internal economy. So these are just some of the ways blockchain is being used. Ending generational poverty, decentralizing bureaucracy, accelerating change, building localized economy, and improving transparency for locally sourced funds. So let's say we put San Francisco or Oakland on a blockchain, our general fund. We can see how each and every last cent of our tax dollars is being used in real time. They don't want that, right? But what are some of the pitfalls? It's the big data. Having people's data centralized in one place, especially if you don't have a really good security team. This is kind of what we're seeing with some of the hacks that are internal going on right now in the blockchain space. 24 million here, 100 million there, 60 million there, and they're all internal, right? Also financial exclusion, because the way in which you get a wallet is you have to generate a private key in order for you to, public key in order for you to handle your transactions. Let's say I am forgetful, or I don't have like a high-tech phone, or I write my private key and I lose it. I just lost a whole bunch of money, right? And when Bitcoin went from like 6K to 17K, I know a lot of people were pissed because of that private key, right? Also, there is the threat of automation. So I would say when we're talking about blockchain and AI, blockchain and IoT, that's where some of those concerns come up. But we're talking about smart contracts being able to automate processes that a human usually does, right? And now we're talking about removing a human being who may have bias and error from that position. Well, yeah, we just kind of streamlined this whole process, but now someone doesn't have a job. And we need to start thinking about that, because blockchain is going to hit every single industry. The greed with the ICOs. I know folks have heard about what's going on in Puerto Rico. Has anyone heard about what is happening there with the blockchain millionaires who they got a tax cut to come there? They bought castles. They brought all their white male friends. You know what happens when they get together. And they, on the website, they literally had the website called Puerto Crypto. On the website, the tagline was reinventing Puerto Rico. How are you about to reinvent something that was already here? You see the colonialism bringing itself back up again. So these people raised $4 billion, and this is at the same time that Puerto Rico had the largest blackout ever. Have they put anything into the community? No. Have they done anything for that community? No. And there's a really good documentary that you guys should watch about this, right? So this is just a glimpse into it. People using this money to get Ferraris and all kinds of stuff. That's not what this is for, right? And then also surveillance. Because of all of our, let's say the government, they start to go on blockchain, which the major banks are doing, right? Now, instead of each one bank having their blockchain, they all have a blockchain together, and they can start comparing your transactions, feeding you different things to get you to go shop, tracking how much you can even, predicting how much you can even pay in taxes, et cetera, right? So for some folks like that may not happen. I'm actually involved in a lot of these conversations, and that's what they're thinking about doing. There's an article in CNBC, Google CNBC, bank threat. The banks were actually talking about how blockchain is a threat to their business model, right? And it's also a threat to money laundering, because we can see everything that's moving in and out. So, some of the pitfalls again: accelerating automation, accelerating fascism, right? Increasing the wealth gap, lack of privacy, and also impacting natural progression. So I think that we forget that, yeah, we can have technology, but it takes natural resources to do that. And Bitcoin is actually very energy intensive, right? They were saying that all the Bitcoin miners in 2017 ate up enough electricity to power a small island. That's a lot of electricity, right? So we need to also be thinking about that. All these different cell phones, all these different platforms, these kiosks, it takes natural resources to create those. And we already know that we are kind of in an environmental crisis right now, right? So let's keep going. So what's happening currently? Because of all the craziness that's been going on with the ICOs, people losing money, et cetera, and just the government just being greedy, basically, there has now been a bunch of regulation on this market. So now it's a lot of the different blockchain companies that you may have liked, the exchanges, the wallet companies, they're gonna have to go through a very intensive regulation application process to be able to stay in compliance with the SEC. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? A lot of these different platforms that we like Binance, they're gonna be shut down in America. Bitfinex, Bittrex, a lot of these different exchanges we're not gonna be able to use in America. So I just wanna start with saying that, you know, if we really wanna have a powerful use of blockchain in America, we have to deal with the regulators because they really are stifling innovation. And really quickly, I just went to the Black Blockchain Summit in DC. It was amazing. There's people from all over the world there, not just, you know, folks from here in America. And the way that they're using blockchain in their countries is so revolutionary. And we can't do that, right? America's really far behind. So I just wanna stop there with saying, thank you. Let me see, is that it? Okay. Our website is b4sj.com. Okay, and you can go on there and kind of see what we're doing, see what we're about. We actually have an extensive resource database. So if you want to go on there and learn anything about blockchain and crypto, you can. We have a couple developer trainings that are going to be happening next year. So if you are a person of color and you're a developer, you want to learn about blockchain, which is going to be big, we're going to be hosting a development training for you to get into that field. And we, again, coming up in November, we have the Build Your Own Blockchain Incubator. So if you want to start your own project, go ahead and register for that. Let's see if we can get you in. Yes, I will stop. So thank you so much.